Hey there, welcome back to Moms on the Rocks. We are Jodie from Reality TV Podcast.
And Carrie from Sip and Shine.
We are two women friends trying to be not just moms while careering, carpooling, and cocktailing. How's it going, Carrie? You sound like you have the sniffles.
I do. I think my on the rocks this week is some chicken noodle soup.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So how is things going for you? I have so much stuff I saved up. So first of all, what are you drinking now?
Okay, well, I am having something very un-Jodie-like. I'm having a Coors Light.
Really? Do you drink beer?
I'm normally not a beer drinker, and I'm actually having it not out of the bottle. I poured it into an actual beer glass.
Because you got to keep it classy, right? I do picture like people from Chicago drinking coffee, or not coffee, beer. I don't know why I have that image in my head. Maybe it's like the Cubs, or what's the movie Major League? Do you remember that with Charlie Sheen was in it?
Oh yeah, Wild Thing.
Yeah, so I maybe that's why I picture like you guys have like baseball and beer and brats, you know?
That is very Chicago. And it's probably from SNL, Duh Bears.
I think so.
Yeah, we're about to have a heat wave. So it's just like a cold beer on a Friday afternoon, Friday evening. It just seemed like the right, appropriate choice.
Oh my God. So tell me about your birthday.
Okay, and then you're going to have to tell me about yours because we're both Geminis. You're the 10th, I'm the 14th.
Yeah, we totally have a ton of stuff to talk about. So we'll take turns. So you go first with your birthday.
Okay, really not too eventful. My daughter came down with this. I didn't even know you could have a staph infection on your skin, but she somehow contracted this crazy rash, and it was all over her face and chest and her arms. And long story short, we were able to get into the Children's Hospital pediatric dermatology unit, and they just gave her lots and lots of meds, and she's much better today than she was a couple days ago. So really not much because I've just been tending to her and being like the little mommy nurse.
So they definitely know that it was staph? Because ironically enough, Kieran was just in the ER with a staph.
Really?
But it was on his groin area, and they had to like put a needle in it. So that's why I was curious. Like they really confirmed that it was staph because you have staph bacteria naturally on your skin, but it can be very painful. Was she in like a lot of pain?
You know what? Funny enough, it wasn't so much pain. It was just a lot of discomfort because it was just her face and it was just tight and dry. But it was really weird how it started. She has eczema, but it was just like these open, weeping, kind of oozing sores and stuff. It was wild. And even trying to get her in, you'd think people would be like, oh yeah, get her in here. Let's see her. But no, it was like, I almost had to pay someone off to just get her in there. But luckily she's much better. But yeah, they're like 99% sure that it's staph, but they took a little culture and they're sending it away just to be sure.
I totally picture as Jim Carrey in the movie. I think it was The Mask where he like dresses up and, to go out or whatever, with the hat and the trench coat. I picture her like that in the summertime trying to cover up.
Oh yeah, she was, even today, she had long sleeves, long pants. And when I brought her in, so Charlie actually had a dermatology appointment just to follow up because I know we sound like a ton of fun in our family. I'm like, we're allergic to the sun, we're allergic to nuts, we're allergic to everything. But he happened to have an appointment just to follow up. There's nothing wrong with him. And I brought her in and she looked like the Unabomber. She had a hat on, big sunglasses, long sleeves, a hoodie.
Oh, that poor girl.
Yeah. But she's much better now. So not too much crazy stuff with my birthday, but I did get some lovely gifts from a girl named Carrie.
Aw. So did your husband think you were having an affair with the one gift that I sent you? Or did it up his game?
Okay, well, first of all, Carrie, you sent me the most gorgeous hydrangea stems I've ever seen in my life. I feel like they had to probably cut down an entire hydrangea bush. I kept walking around and my kids are making fun of me because I would just walk around and stare at them. And because I got like 3 huge full bouquets out of them. And I would just walk around and go, stunning, stunning.
Well, I remember you telling me the story of how he goes to like CVS to get your flowers. And I was like, challenge accepted.
Yeah, so he did. So would you like to know what he did end up getting me? So, of course, I could tell his face kind of just fell when he came home and he saw the flowers. He's like, oh shit, because it was like a day before my birthday or something. So, when I was at improv the other night, they went out and they got, well, he did step it up from CVS. It was actually Walgreens where he would get the flowers and the wine. But he went to Whole Foods and he got 5 peony stems. I mean, it wasn't like the 25 you got me, but you know.
But it is a step up.
It is a step up. And a Zagnut candy bar.
Oh, I remember those with Beetlejuice.
Yeah. I've never had one, but sure. Okay. And I also got 2 little containers of the little bakery scones.
Aw. Do you like scones?
I do.
But you like donuts? I feel like I might know you a little bit better.
But here I get from you, I get amazing hydrangea flowers. And of course, Dave's like, I had to keep up with your other life partner. And then yesterday, there's an Amazon box that comes and it has my name on it. And I open it up and I just see this thing that says like gift for you. And I was like, oh no, maybe Dave sent something. I shouldn't open it yet till he comes home. And so he comes home. I'm like, did you get me something? And he's like, does it look like something I get you? I'm like, what are you talking about? So then in my mind, I'm like, oh God, it's probably Carrie because no one in my life loves me enough to send me birthday gifts. And I go and open it up. And what did you get me?
I got you some new drawers to add to your scrapbook.
In my drawers, she means like big girl undies, but like pretty big girl undies. And I'm not going to lie, when I opened them up and I pulled them out, first I saw red and black and I was like, uh-oh. I could not tell which was the front and which is the back.
I'm sure your face turned 50 Shades of Red. Like it was not 50 Shades of Grey at your house last night. And what does it say about me when I did look at some of like the Victoria's Secrets and stuff? But I'm like, shoot. I'm like, Jodie is very thrifty and she would not want me to pay shipping. So I better do Amazon because she would be upset if I paid for shipping.
Oh, I would be totally upset. Or I would be upset if you paid any more than like $1 for a pair of underwear.
And then there is something actually nice coming along too. But I have a funny story about something you sent me.
Okay, so tell me about your birthday.
No, did you guys go out or anything?
Well, no, I wanted to go out to this Italian restaurant that's kind of around in our neighborhood, but Paige she was still Unabombering it, so she wasn't up to going out in public yet. So, we got Panera delivery.
That's really, you guys are stepping up the class there.
Yeah, it's a very hot and spicy 38th birthday. Yeah, so we'll probably go out this weekend when she's not, gaping wounds on her face. So we'll figure it out. Okay, so what about your birthday? Because you are the complete opposite of
it's like New Year's,
the Huff household.
Yeah, it's let's like hear New Year's. Like I celebrate for the month. So Mike gave me a budget to go away with. And so we went to Charleston and we went to Hilton Head. And we stayed in I picked 3 different places. So we did a resort with a cabana and all that. And I did 2 boutique hotels that were historical.
Ugh.
And we did a tour. We did a tour and all that. And then he gave me his credit card and then get what I wanted for my birthday. Because he's really, really generous, but he gets really, really nervous about buying gifts. And he will buy them for me. He'll ask for a list. And then I was like, well, let me just pick out what I want and then I'll do it. And then he feels guilty about that. So it's either way, I'm happy. So don't, and I think when you're of a certain age, we kind of want to buy for ourselves clothing because 3/4 of what I ordered, I'm returning anyways. I wouldn't want him to put that on him. We're pickier. We know what we want and how it's going to fit and stuff. But so it's really funny. We came home and there's a whole bunch of packages on the front porch because I had been doing all this ordering. And so we come in and I opened everything up and I saw a t-shirt that said wrestling is how I hug. And now I thought that he had ordered that for himself. So I put it on his side of the bed, and he comes in and he was so mad because he's like, this isn't the one I ordered. I ordered a different one with a different saying. And he made me go through like the garbage and the garbage can looking for the package and the wrapping because he was so mad thinking that they had sent him the wrong shirt. And then I'm like folding his laundry on the side of his bed, and I realized it was a ladies extra large. And I was like, bitch, this is my shirt. Step off. And I'm not doing any more garbage picking for you. You need to wait for your own.
Oh no. So are you going to wear that?
Heck yeah, that's like sexy time. I got you underwear, you got me a shirt about wrestling? Shoot. He's like on that with like white on rice.
That's what I was thinking. You guys could have a little 5-on-2 action with your wrestling is how I hug.
I know. He was telling me something the other day, and now that's like my new term. If it's something is a scam, I'm like, is this whole 5-on-2 bit?
I'm still standing by it. Need to ask someone else in high school if they remember the 5-on-2.
I even asked Grant, who's 18, and Grant was 5-on-2.
Oh, damn it. And they're smart too.
Yeah. Definitely not my
right? Like your pseudo stepsons.
Oh, we were talking I was at Hilton Head at the resort doing some bragging because they're not my kids, so I can brag about them, without being an asshole. So I'm like, yeah, this guy has 3 masters and this other kid's going to be an astronaut and he's going to MIT. And I said, but bear in mind, that's not my gene pool. I was like, my standards are pretty low. So at this point, my son can only exceed my standards. And I figured 2 out of 3 kids ain't bad if they turn out all right and they're not living off me, And then one lady's like high-fiving me. She's like, that's right. I'm in the same boat. She goes, my kid doesn't live with me. I feel like that is a win-win. That is a victory right there.
Oh, yeah. I love how you're just throwing in, like, when I was at the resort, I have a...
This is not my lifestyle. This is not my credit card. So I feel like...
What would you like to know what my lifestyle was? The same night that you're posting pictures of cute Mike and his little preppy gear, he's standing on the steps of this historical mansion. Do you want to know where I was laying my head that night?
Where?
Well, Dave decided on the way back from Disney when we were driving that we need to have a little stopover, and we stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. Hey, nothing wrong with the Holiday Inn Express. Whatever. It's one night, 10 hours.
That was a rap song, Hotel, Motel, Holiday Inn.
Oh, could be. Look at you. You're really into rap and wrestling now.
Well,
okay.
Let me dust that shoulder off.
However, this Holiday Inn Express, we walk into the room and it just has a very weird, strange feeling to it. And I'm like, this is weird. No. Well, I walked in, it was like basic. Oh, look I can hear that. That sounds good.
Right? That's Blenheim Vineyards.
Oh, ooh.
That's your boyfriend owns that.
Are you talking about my Dave Matthews? Yeah. Dreamy. Okay, so I walk in and I'm like, this is kind of a very large walkway and it's all tile when you walk in. Mm-hmm. And the kids swing open a gigantic bathroom door and they're like, why does it look weird in here? And Dave very proudly says, well, it's because it's the accessible room. I'm like, the accessible room? And I'm like, and he's like, I always, because it's on my profile when I travel, I always have the accessible room because it's bigger. It's like a bigger bathroom. I'm like,
he's depriving some other person that might need that.
I'm like, what the fuck? So now we have a roll-in shower, a toilet that is like 3 feet off the floor. My kids' feet are dangling from it. So there's one sink that's, again, it's like boob height on me. Like.
So he didn't have champagne delivered like Mike did? Waiting for you chilled?
No, he was annoyed that we had to pay like $2 per bottle of water at the whatever vending machine. But I'm like, no. He's like, well, we can sleep in tomorrow. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm getting the hell out of this place. Floor is lava. No one touch anything. Like I didn't even take a shower in the morning. So it was one of those places where you just would feel dirtier.
You feel like you just want to evacuate. You're like, let's just hurry up and get out of here before we start seeing like we turn on the lights off and the roaches come out.
Yeah, exactly. So picture me going through Instagram, looking at your photos that night as I'm laying in bed at midnight, and I'm convinced that there are bed bugs biting at my legs and I can't sleep.
So
It was horrible.
Mike wants to be on Southern Charm, so he bought the clothes and was like having me take his picture. So maybe Whitney would see it on Instagram. And then he was telling me how the other day it's my job to get up with the dog on the weekends. So I go downstairs and he's like, oh, get me a mug of coffee. Now, meanwhile, I can barely roll out of bed. I'm so tired. And he's like wide awake, but it's the principle for him that I have to go take the dog out because he does it during the week. So I was like, all right, I'll bring you a coffee, whatever. So I take the dog out and now I need to take a little rest on the couch because I'm just really tired and I'm not just ready to like climb those stairs. So I make it to the couch, the dog's out, whatever. Then he comes down a few minutes later and he gets mad because he's like, you're halfway there. You didn't bring me up my coffee. I said, give me a few minutes. Like, I need to take a rest. Like, I'm tired. I'm not ready to come back upstairs yet. And so now he has this thing that he wants to do like an old man bachelor where he's the bachelor and the women, though, it's not just like he gives them out a rose. Like he wants them to compete for him, like do obstacle courses and like how fast can you get his coffee and all that. That's what he told me on the plane ride down. And he said that he thinks I'd probably fail because I don't know how to get him coffee in a timely fashion. But I feel like my mission was not to go get the coffee. That was just an add-in on the mission. That was just like a nice to have. And if you're going to just be happy you got the coffee because that wasn't my original mission.
Right, like mission accomplished.
Yeah, that was like grabbing a roadie on the way. But yeah, he wants to do like Survivor.
I feel like this is not going to end well. Like you're going to accidentally stir in rat poison or something. Remember that was in some movie?
I know. Too bad they changed it so that the coolant now doesn't taste like Kool-Aid anymore. But yeah, so it's Survivor meets Bachelor.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's see how that works out for him.
These are our conversations where Dave is thinks he's getting one over on the hotel by getting the bigger room. I got Mike over here who's like telling me to put war paint on and to get ready to like run the gauntlet in order for his affections.
Oh yeah, no, Dave's would be the opposite. Like, what can you do that will keep you away from me the longest?
That's my kind.
He'd be like, I really think you and Carrie should do The Amazing Race for 3 months. That'd be great.
We'd get kicked off on the first mission. We'd be like, oh my gosh, do you see what the store has over here? Come look it.
Okay, now I need to speaking of relationships, so I love people watching, and being at Disney World is like the best place ever for people watching. By the way, I know there's an Instagram or a Twitter or Snapchat or something that's Hot Dads at Disney, but
I have a friend who's on there who made it.
Oh my God. Okay, well, there are some hot dads. However, going right along with that, I think Disney, I don't think you can ever, I don't think it's ever possible to be sexy at Disney World, like a sexy mom. I think it sucks the sexy out of you. I didn't see even the prettiest, skinniest moms were moms, like the popcorn bucket hooked on the backpack. You got the gym shoes and the shorts. Like there's no way to be sexy at Disney World. I'm convinced of it.
For women.
Yes, there's no way.
I just, maybe because I just see, because again, I'm very fixated. When you're lacking in an area and you might fixate on that. I've just been at the kids' school. I feel like I'm the heaviest one at the school.
Oh, that's like the story of my life. I'm so used to that.
Yeah. So I was at the pool yesterday and all the women are wearing like grandma bathing suits, but they look really good. Why are you not wearing? I just picture the women from the pool would be the women at Disney. And I would be the one with the sweaty, stringy hair and the, looking hungover, dragging myself through, getting, mistaken for the woman with the apple in Snow White, No, that was full. I mean, I did take a shower and blow dry and straighten my hair every morning, but the second I walked outside, it was so humid. I could not straighten my hair down there.
I had to do it just to feel good. Like, you just have to feel good in the morning, ready to go.
Take your morning selfie with the kids that you look normal, and then.
Oh yeah, it really didn't last because I just pulled my hair back and I was sweating, just standing there doing nothing. But
and then I think
even the moms,
and then you come home and you check the scale and you probably put on 2 pounds.
I haven't checked. I didn't even get a chance to get to the gym this week, but I've learned I cannot weigh myself because I'll get really depressed. I threw away my scale when we moved and I never bought a new one.
Well,
I don't weigh myself at
Mike got
home.
me one of those, the scale that links to your Fitbit. And then he got a Fitbit and now it syncs to him. So now I avoid it because he started being able to see what I weigh, which is higher than his,
hell no.
which is higher than him.
Well, muscle weighs more than fat.
Thank you. And boobs.
You just have to remember that.
Boobs weigh more than fat.
Exactly. Okay, and the other thing I need to discuss, speaking of self-esteem issues, you know those caricatures, however you say it?
I know. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
The people that make the drawings of your face.
Yeah, I decided I could never get one of those because I would immediately develop a severe eating disorder and I like body dysmorphia. I would need to go get a nose job stat.
See, I think they don't even look like you. I think what they do is they give you really long eyelashes and a really big smile and then they just sign your name to it.
No, they give you that. They see me and they're like, oh my God, it's the female Pinocchio. Here she comes.
Your nose really is not that bad. I'm telling you. I was like a connoisseur of noses.
That's very sweet of you to say.
You're not looking like Cher's The Mask over there.
Oh, the mask.
I know.
Was that really his face?
It was. And he died young, too. I felt
Are you
really
sure
bad.
that was his?
You can Google it because everything else is right.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
You know what I was Googling the other day offhand because I like to look up random stuff. Do you remember? This is my super secret middle school like weirdo-ness, and I wondered why I was like weirdo. Is my grandmother was really big into the Kennedys because they were the only Irish Catholic president, right? The whole lot. We didn't have just a picture of Jesus in the house. We had a picture of President Kennedy. So do you remember the William Kennedy Smith rape trial?
Yes.
So during that time, I had a really bad crush on Patrick Kennedy Jr. or Patrick Kennedy, Ted Kennedy's son.
Right.
He was
okay. I can
my
see
middle
it.
school crush or early high school. I know. I'm like, some girls were dreaming about Kirk Cameron, and I was dreaming of Ted Kennedy's son, who was already like a representative in Senate or whatever he was.
I would approve that over Kirk Cameron. I think he is like Lord douchebag. Yeah. I can't.
Exactly. At least
I can't do that.
Come out and said he has bipolar or something. So that's more my jam. Give me a guy with some like, quirks, and I want to fix them. So, well, I was happened to look up the other day William Kennedy Smith because they were talking about the lawyer of the guy. And so I happened to look him up. I was like, whatever happened to that guy? Did he end up doing a rape or something like that? Do you know he became a doctor? And he went over to Africa and was like helping landmine victims. And that was like his cause. He spent the rest of his career. Yeah, he had kids later. Like he ended up getting married in like 2011 and has 2 little kids. And he's in his 50s now. But he went over to, and I'm not trying to say whether he was right or wrong with the rape trial. I'm just saying, like, that is very random. That's like the last thing I would have expected to look him up, that he became a doctor working in Somalia primarily with landmines and people who were impacted by landmines. Very like Princess Diana. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would not have expected that either. Do you think all the Kennedys have to name their children very traditional classic names?
Yes, I do. Except for, I think they had like a Tegan or something, or Reagan or something. But yeah, they're all the same. Like
you couldn't do like a Kelsey with like extra E's and Y's and
no, I think
Z's
and family. You'd be off the inheritance.
Yeah, same thing with royal family, of course. You always got to choose some good names.
Like George, Charlotte,
I think it's so sweet. I like traditional names like that.
My Bailey's little friend is named Cora. I was thinking about that name yesterday at the pool. I'm like, what a cute little name.
That is a sweet name. You know what, when I was teaching, it was really popular, was Greta.
Oh, that's cute. That sounds very Midwest.
Yeah, it was a super
you have a lot
popular
of Germans name. And, Swedish, like Scandinavians out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it just reminds me, when I started teaching, one of the teachers that I helped hire me was kind of a mentor. She said something to me when she was pregnant with one of her kids, and I never forgot it. And she said, when you're naming your kids, you should always think of their name on the top of a resume, like a good, strong name that can stand on its own, like nothing too, like popular or crazy spelling or something like, you know what I mean? Like something that can look and sound professional when you say
Evidently,
it.
I did not follow that when I named my 3.
What are you talking about? I think
Really?
so.
I actually have, you are hitting
Yes.
on a good segue here. So you have a teaching background. And I was thinking about it the other day, because you know how UK Daily Mail kind of tries to portray Americans in like the worst light. So they have a tendency to pick up some like crazy stories about America. But I noticed they always pick up on the teachers that get caught with their students that are females. Why do you think, and maybe again, they're probably just like over embellishing the number, but why do you think so many women will go for like middle school and high school students? They're like young.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Well, first of all, I think it's disgusting. It's so gross, especially when you have a son and you think about that. You're like, oh, the worst. I don't know. I mean, I can think of some teachers, not a lot, more so at the middle school, high school level, that I think they like the attention, like they feel they are cool or the cool kids like them, or that they have some sort of popularity or mojo that they didn't have back in high school, maybe.
The second time around, they get to be the popular kid, but they're the teacher.
Yeah, I think, are they getting attention? Or they feel attractive? Because this is not that I feel this way as a teacher at all. I taught fourth grade. I mean, nothing could be, the kids were picking their nose. There's nothing attractive about that. No. But don't you feel like in your 30s, you tend to feel more confident or attractive than you did in high school, at least?
Yeah. You know what? The only thing I can equate it to is I've traveled before as being like the senior person. I've been in a school where I was like the oldest person and I was already seasoned and I was class leader and everybody was just out of high school. And it was fun to get that attention and they all thought I was cool, but kind of was maternal with them. And then I realized a couple of them kind of were crushing on me. They perceived my maternalness as, and I'm higher ranking. So I was like their first, experience with someone of my position, so it was kind of cool to them. But I know that one time it kind of crossed the line a little, or came close, where I was, all right, reel this back in. We're not that cool. Like, I am still a boss of you. But I was wondering if some of these girls maybe had, not all, but some of them had maybe bipolar or something like that. Other situation, again, not trying to say about bipolar because my own child has been diagnosed with it. There's some of those mood disorders will come out with promiscuity or something. I don't know. And again, I don't even know if it's mental health, but I just think it's really odd. So there's been like a rash of, why would you put yourself in that situation with, and some of them are like younger people. They're like 14-year-olds, 15. Like they're not even, I don't understand it. Do you know what I mean? Like, are they in a bad marriage and this is the only thing they're coming into contact with, as younger people? And I think it's really wrong. I really do feel like they should be treated like sex offenders because I don't care about whether it's a man or woman. I know it would really mess up Kieran at an age to be taken advantage of by an adult like that, Yeah,
I think it's disgusting. I think there's probably some sort of, like you said, either bipolar or borderline, where all of a sudden they start identifying them as a peer. It's messed up. I mean, we'll look at Mary Kay Letourneau, the classic case with Villy. They're still together, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I mean, I know they had issues, but I wonder how he feels about having his youth being taken away like that too. Or like even like the
sad.
French president, he was 15 and she was 39.
Ew.
Yeah.
Why am I not remembering this?
Yeah, he's president now. Look it up. She was his drama teacher. She left her husband. She had a 9-year-old child.
That's gross. That was just like the age gap on actually, I think that's the name of the documentary on Netflix is Age Gap. And there's one like that where she was his teacher and she was maybe even almost in her 40s and he was 16. I don't know. I think even if you say they're successful because they stay together, it's just dysfunctional. There's something wrong with that.
You have a couple listeners that have a psychology background. One of them I've come into more contact with, and she's like me, like I like to diagnose from afar without any type, kind of like armchair. Like some people watch sports. I like to watch psychological breakdowns or analysis. And I'm just curious what psychologically goes behind there because like I wonder what kind of input, how she would look at it. And is there a double standard where if it was a male, he'd be considered a pedophile, but does our society, will they label her as a pedophile?
Right. Or, oh, he's willing participant. He's cool because he's sleeping with the teacher. Let me ask you this. What would you do if you opened up Kiernan's phone and you saw him texting with a female teacher? What would be your first instinct, your first gut reaction?
Well, based upon his prior experience with adults crossing the line with him, especially like in the hospital situations, I would be very upset. And recently, I think I told you, there was a teacher in the classroom that was being very opinionated with political and religious. And I reported that to the school, and he got very upset. But the principal agreed, because I do think that there should be like a balanced debate and argument in school, and you teach them basically come up with opinions and arguments and all that. But I think that especially coming into contact with kids, I think you definitely have to be really aware of boundaries. And it can be very confusing to preteens and teenagers with maintaining those boundaries.
So if you saw that he was...
Holy hell, I did when... No lie, Kiernan was buying drugs through PayPal from one of the hospital staff members. I have proof. And I was like, what kind of message? Like, I can't even... Like, I would go ballistic. I'll go ballistic. Think about it if it was Paige. If it was your daughter.
Right. Well, I'm saying, like, would you call the police first, the school first?
Okay. So based upon my prior experience, I reported that situation in the hospital, and they had already released him. And Kiernan we were building trust and all that with us. So we didn't go to the police. We went through the hospital thinking they would manage it. But if it happened now and after everything I've known, I would go to the police. I would totally skip the school, because I realized how a lot of these organizations, how there's not, I was too trusting in the past to think that they can handle certain things inside, where it's a criminal matter, not a civil. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's almost like you need to, well, hopefully you wouldn't be in this situation, but that's a crazy freaking thing about being a parent, is there's no guidebook how to react. And just like you said, in retrospect, you would have done this, but God, at the time, how do you even prepare for this kind of stuff?
I know we're going so serious here because I know.
Yeah, we are.
I think some people like to hear, we like people watching, people like to hear people's stories. You know, like, this is good people watching right here. You have experience as a teacher.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever see anybody that maybe was a little too flirty with a dad? I think that there was a teacher who was too flirty with my ex-husband, and I intercepted messages. Well, my daughter did, on an iPad, and she was married, and he got her gifts and shit like that. Again, she wasn't that attractive, but who knows? Like, men might think, oh, I'm getting attention. It doesn't matter their attractiveness level. Usually, like, cheating occurs and the person isn't even as attractive as the wife. Like, it's not about looks. Do you know what I mean? It's about attention and whatever.
Right. No, I think, wow, I've never had, or maybe I didn't know about any teachers flirting with parents. And now, although, again, I'm very naive, I was just very professional and I was very friendly with the parents, but I would never imagine, even if I thought one of them was attractive or something, but hell no.
Oh, I would. If I was a teacher,
there's...
and there was like a single dad, not a married one, but a single dad, heck yeah. I'd be like, I'm like, baby, June's coming up and I am single on June 16th for you.
No, I can think of, I'm trying not to be real specific. Administrators and teachers cheating on their spouses with each other, like with one another, that I know one of them ended in them getting married. Like, they left their spouses and got married. It's more kind of stuff like that. Yeah. Not really necessarily within my building. I'll say it was not within my school building. The things you just kind of hear through the grapevine. It was kind of strange though. We did have, I don't know, there was like something in the water for a couple of years, because there was, I think, 3 teachers, or maybe one of them was a principal, that all of their husbands came out as gay.
Oh, like, people love true crime. I love a good, like, gay on the side story. Yeah,
coming out.
I love a good gay on the side story.
Yeah, one of my dear friends, actually, she passed away a couple of years ago from cancer, but her ex-husband came out, and he had a partner and everything, but she would tell me, I was the same way. I was like, oh my God, tell me everything. And they had 2 kids together or whatever. But obviously they came to a place where they could co-parent, but I wouldn't say they were best friends, but maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, she would tell me stories like, oh yeah, in retrospect, when he was traveling, he was going to all these bathhouses and it was wild.
So I have someone in my life who came out to me.
Can you tell me details? Because this is the kind of stuff I live for.
This person.
Wait, circle of trust, everyone.
Nobody knows this story. Like, no one knows this story. I think I'm the only one that knows this story besides the person that they're intimate with.
That's okay. I think there's only 3 people listening. So
I kind of said I didn't know sooner.
Now, wait, this is a guy? This is a guy or girl?
Because I was like, how did you not tell me this knowing my fascination with Craigslist stories? I recounted a book I read about a guy who was banging dudes on the side, like gay for pay. I was like, I have told you true crime stories about how the wife was at home pregnant and he got murdered by 2 guys he picked up at the bar. I was like, I told you about the DC guy who was a lawyer and he left his wife on a Sunday and was found dead in a hotel room with an enema and the whole deal. I recount multiple conversations I've had retelling these stories.
Wait, hold on. Time out. An enema.
Oh yeah, that's kind of like a thing, I guess, apparently.
Okay, hold on. Teach 6th grade Catholic Jodie, who does not know an enema for what? I guess
it gives you a cleaning out maybe beforehand.
Ew. Okay.
Well,
I'm so naive. Okay.
Well, that's how I am. And again, I'm very accepting.
That's just like a known thing.
I have questions on mechanics. I have questions on what is and apparently there's a lot of guys that do this stuff that are married, or not a lot, but that, have had situations or whatever. So
they're on the down low. They just do it. It's just sex.
They don't consider it any. Just like a lot of people say that women are on a scale of, bisexuality, but
the Kinsey scale or whatever.
But I was just like, I want to know, because again, just like polygamy, just like sister wives, just like anything, I'm always curious about what are the etiquette. I'm like a real anthropologist over here. I want to know when you go on Craigslist, like who hosts, what is there words exchanged? How do you select? How do you show up? I'm curious. I want to know.
Okay, but let's get to it. So he just called you up one day, was like, hey, Carrie, do you want me to pick you up some scones from Whole Foods? Oh, by the way, I'm gay.
No, he doesn't call it that.
Oh, okay.
He's bi.
Oh, yeah, okay, got it.
He's always known. And I'm trying to make sure I don't give identifying information, decided at a certain point of his life that he's going to explore more of the male side. And I think he still keeps his options open to go back to women, but he's very happy right now in a relationship with a male.
Well, good for him.
And to explain to me about body types and even, like I said, I had a lot of questions. I just had a lot of questions and I feel like I missed out on knowing. I know this sounds crazy. I felt like I missed out on a part of his personality or the part of his life that, not just for the people watching. Yeah, I love a good people watching. But I was saddened that I was so close to this person that they felt like they couldn't share this part. Well, they didn't, because I was the only one that knew for a while. I think I still am, but I just kind of felt like I missed out. Like, we could have had some really good talk about, he likes to talk about, like, dude,
right, like
stories, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, where you thought he would feel close enough to you that he wouldn't feel like he had to keep it a secret.
Yeah, and he would tell me about dating stories, but he would always make it sound like it was a girl, where if I had known that there was more to it, that was really a guy he was talking about, or like some of the Craigslist hookup, he knew some of my dating ups and downs, and it would have been more fun, I think, to be able to share that, knowing what he was going through.
But that's not about you. He wasn't even ready to admit it to himself or to talk about it or explore with himself.
He's very masculine, and he has a lot of masculine friends and all that. And again, that's not my place to, like, if he wants to keep something to himself and something private, more power to him, because I'm a very private person too. But I just felt like I was just glad when we finally
that little selfish part of you where you're like, come on.
Like, I don't want to say girls. We could have been real pals and like kind of laughed over and had certain adventures with each other if I had known.
Like we want to be like the girl with all the gay friends. Like, come on. Yeah.
And I'm definitely, I'm not going to be Sonia where I'm like inviting my gays over. They're definitely not a accessory. You know what I mean?
I was just going to say, I think girls that think that or act like that think gay guys would love to be their friend, and it's the exact opposite.
And like I worked with someone who Jones to be this person's friend because I think he is so cool. He's such sunshine, but you know he has such sunshine. He can afford to be selective.
What's the difference between Tinder, Grindr, and what's the other one? Bumble. Okay.
Tinder is for, I guess, either. Grindr, don't go on Grindr if you go single because I think that's for just gay men.
Okay. Wait, so is Tinder just for hooking up dating, or is it dating?
But to me, it's hooking up because you're only looking at their pictures. And then Bumble is women. Bumble is the lazy man. It's basically they're selling it to you like it's women's empowerment, but it's really just to make men lazier with dating because the women can only hit up the men. So I think Bumble is for lazy men.
So Bumble is like Tinder, but one-sided.
Yeah. Like Bumble, you can match on like Tinder, but you can't, if you're a dude, you can't reach out to the woman unless she reaches out to you.
Oh, okay. God, I really don't ever want to have to be single in the dating world.
I know,
this
you signed up for Grindr thinking that, because Grindr sounds like a good time, like the word sounds like, hey, I'm going to a Grindr tonight. Like I would have done the same thing, but I went to Rehoboth Beach and because I love to pick up people. And I went with my ex-boyfriend who the psychic said is really a closeted gay man. And for some reason, we would always meet gay couples out several times. And we met this couple who invited us to stay. Well, we met two couples that night because they invited us to stay at their house who were both gay couples, like gay men couples. And they explained to me the whole Grindr thing. And they showed me Grindr and everything. They had met on Grindr. So that's the only reason why I have a little bit of knowledge on what Grindr is. And I did ask my friend who decided to share with me his thing, and he picked up more men on Craigslist. He had certain slots of the night, and those were the slots of when he would.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I would think Grindr is like, hey, we're going to go to Williams-Sonoma and get a mortar and pestle and smash some spices.
See, I know what I was thinking about the other day.
Grindr.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? And again, because you have some people that listen to you on your other podcasts that are gay, and I really love their perspectives. I think I've actually gone on your Facebook groups and actually asked for their opinions. I know. Sorry, I'm like hitting up. I'm like, can you please give me some perspective on this? I'm curious if I was watching, that's why I'm very curious, is do gay couples, do they have it? I'm totally generalizing and we can cut this part out. But I did have a thought process. Are there more equality in their couples than gender roles? Like for instance, me and Mike, sometimes we butt heads over gender roles, right?
Right.
So I was watching on Millionaire Listing when Josh Flagg got married, and they were talking about the husband, he's like planning his wedding, is talking about, he's like, I'm not going to wear a white dress, or, they were joking around. And I was watching their dynamics. Is it more gender neutral arguments, or is there more, I put on Mike sometimes gender roles that I learned when I was growing up, and he does the same thing to me. I'm very curious if they know better, teach me how not to put those gender roles and vice versa. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I don't know if I'm saying it right because I'm on a lot of cold medicine and I'm drinking a lot of wine. So I'm sure I offended masses of people. I've offended teachers, bipolar, gay people. Like I've probably offended a whole ton of people. But I was just curious if they know better of how to not reinforce childhood patterns in relationships.
No, I think that makes sense. I know what you're saying. No, I don't know. That's a good point. We should probably ask people if anyone's listening. Right. And if they don't, do they butt heads because they're both trying to take their place?
Yeah.
Whatever that might be.
Traditional parenting, because I don't think there's a tradition now. Like traditional parenting nowadays is, I think there's more kids that come from single family homes than anything. I'm just talking about who came from the old perception of a nuclear family. and our new version.
Well, you're kind of bringing up two things that I want to talk about and between gay couples and children. And that is what has been going on with Jeff Lewis and Gage and their surrogate. But I think we're probably going to have to save that for next episode, because I hope you don't mind, but I have a lot of things I want to hash out with that.
I have so much. I still got to tell you about Red Lobster and the cops getting called at Red Lobster. I have so much to tell you about. And like I said, I'm on cold medicine and wine. So I'm like letting it all hang out.
Well, I think I'm going to pour myself another beer, and then next episode, let's take another episode if you want to.
And hopefully I didn't completely turn off half of our audience by all of my opinions on this one or my questions.
No, I might turn off the other half when I start talking about my experience as a surrogate and what I think about Jeff Lewis. So,
offending.
Hey, that sounds great. Hopefully you're in the right place. This is Moms on the Rocks. So speaking of Moms on the Rocks, if you want to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, we are at MomsOTR. That's for On the Rocks. Right now we have a Facebook page, but not a Facebook group, but we'll probably be getting that up and running so we can all.
I look forward to the comments they make. Like, they were helping me with deciding whether to get a camper or not. Like, I love when people interact with posts.
Yeah. So again, that's at MomsOTR. And Carrie, where can we find you?
Sip Shine Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. My son hacked my Instagram and changed it to a curse word. So I'm not above an occasional pity like or follow because I'm trying to reestablish it. And what about you?
Can I just ask what did he change it to?
You can still look it up and it still says I'm a motherfucker.
Yeah. Are you serious?
Because I was told I was going to have a consequence
for
missing the bus. So he hacked my shit. And I'm trying to prove to Instagram that it's me, sending them pictures of me holding pieces of paper to try to get my account back, and it did not work.
Oh my God. I'm a motherfucker. That's what you get for teaching them about self-love. All right. Well, I am not a motherfucker. You can find me at RealiTV Pod. That's Real ITV Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So find us one and all. And until next time, we're just going to say cheers.
Cheers, bitches. I think that's somebody else's tagline, but I just stole it. Cheers, bitches.
All right. That sounds good.